But one thing I want to talk about this morning is the Obama jobs deficit, though. Based on the projections from the administration that with their stimulus package, that if nothing had passed in the stimulus package, they projected the unemployment rate today, this month, would be 6% if nothing was done. It's sitting at 8.2%. The Obama jobs deficit is a 13 million job failure that they've failed. Its impact has not worked. And I'll ask Chris and the governor as well. Can you tell us why you think that stimulus plan failed? And again, it's going to cost us about $1.1 trillion. So I open it up with that question.
I think it is astounding. I think the governor mentioned that it is the slowest recovery of any of the recessions since World War II, which is remarkable. I think, what market economies do when they're left alone is they naturally adjust, prices and wages adjust, and the economy starts growing again. And we've seen that in every, recession, that when the government, leaves it alone, it naturally starts growing again. Go back to 1921, there was a terrible recession. Unemployment soared to 15%. But the government at the time, Congress at the time, didn't do anything, and the U.S. economy very quickly adjusted and started growing again. I think that there's been lots of mistakes. I think the jobs problem, I think, is ultimately a business investment problem. If you look at the national income accounts data, U.S. companies are not building new factories. They are not expanding their factories. They're buying equipment, investment and the like has recovered, but investment in new factories has not recovered. It plunged, and it is at very low levels today. When businesses invest, they need to hire new workers, and so we need to get the business investment first, which is why I've suggested corporate tax rate cuts. I think there's been lots of mistakes. I think the extended unemployment insurance benefits artificially pushed up the unemployment rate. If you have unemployment benefits the last 2 years, you create this natural incentives for people not to make the tough decisions they need to go out and find jobs. So, I don't believe that the basic idea of Keynesian spending stimulus works. We've had trillion-dollar deficits 4 years in a row now. So even this year, the 2009 stimulus bill is basically already ended, but we've still got $1 trillion of so-called stimulus with the federal government deficit. That's, in basic sort of textbook Keynesian terms, that's stimulus. And yet look at the results. The results are still very high unemployment. So I don't think this model works. I think when the government spends more money, it takes money away from the private sector. I think the private sector is more efficient. So the bigger the government gets, the more you push down GDP, and it just hasn't been working.
I had an employer in my area tell me, I don't care how much they give me in tax breaks, I'm not going to hire more people unless there's a demand, unless the economy is growing. And we see in Europe the idea of austerity. It's put England into a double-dip recession. We see people all over Europe bridling under the yoke of this austerity notion. What we needed to do in this country was to work together on a bipartisan basis to do something about it. But everything that the President Obama proposed, the Republicans opposed. And I haven't heard any jobs proposals from the Republicans except give upper-income people more tax breaks.
Well, Mr. Waxman, I appreciate that. I do have a question for you. And,
good.
It'd be great for you to defend a stimulus that's 13 million jobs short of what the President promised us. And I wasn't here, and I presume you voted for it. But one thing that's bothered me on the regulatory side as well is this idea that, and I want this question asked for you, because this question constituents asked me, and they said, Congressman, do you think Washington politicians and regulators can make better decisions than businessmen and women? And that would be my question for you,
It's a good question.
Let's leave it at that.
There are things called market failures.
And there are things called government failures.
Let's let him answer the question.
Yes.
But there are market failures, and that's where government needs to step in. For example, if you don't regulate, for example, pollution, the waste disposal into the air would be free. The market provides no incentive for polluters to control pollution. It imposes social costs on everybody in terms of disease and death that far outweigh the cost to clean up. The other area where there's a failure of the market is insurance companies. I have so many people tell me, I want to buy insurance.
So could you answer the question, Mr. Waxman?
Well, you asked me about...
I'm out of time. I wonder if you can answer the question.
On the stimulus, or I'm trying to answer your question.
Yeah.
The market failure of insurance for health care. People cannot buy it if they have pre-existing medical conditions. You can't blame the insurance companies, because if they have to provide insurance coverage for sick people, they have to raise the cost of insurance for everybody. So the idea behind the Romney plan in Massachusetts and the Obama plan here was to spread the costs out with a requirement that everybody participate. Stimulus, either by tax cuts or direct expenditure, is what you need where there's strong unemployment to get people back to work. And that is what we needed to do. And I wish that there were some Republicans that would have helped.
Thank you.
Not a single Republican in the House voted to help President Obama.
Thank you. I think you did answer his question, but I want to keep on time.